Let's dive into the opening of Deborah Ellis's novel, My Name Is Parvana. It's a story where a young girl's silence becomes her most powerful weapon. We're about to see how, in a sterile interrogation room, choosing not to speak is her last and maybe her only line of defense. So we're dropped right into the middle of this incredibly tense moment. A single question, repeated over and over, just hanging in the air. Is your name Parvana? Seems simple, right? But for the girl sitting on that hard metal chair, the answer is anything but. Okay, so let's picture the scene. You've got this girl in a dusty blue chador, just sitting there, totally motionless, her eyes locked on a scuff mark on the floor. And facing her are two American soldiers, a major who is absolutely convinced he's found trouble, and a young female corporal whose job it is to translate the questions that just keep getting no answer. So let's break down who we have in this room. You've got the girl, who's a total mystery. Then there's the major, a security guy whose gut is screaming that this silent kid is trouble. And caught right between them is the corporal, a language expert who, believe it or not, used to be a baker. Now she's trying to bridge this impossible gap. The tension is just, wow, you can feel it right away. And this is where you see this huge disconnect. The major, he sees a potential terrorist, someone they picked up in what he thinks is an enemy staging area. But the reality? She's a student, and she was found in the ruins of her own school. Her silence isn't some act of defiance, it's a shield. And to really get what she's protecting, we have to see the world she's so desperately trying to hold on to. Because before this interrogation cell, there was a school, Leila's Academy of Hope. And this wasn't just any old building. It was a world that Parvana and her family literally built from rubble. On its opening day, this place was just buzzing with this vibrant, almost defiant sense of optimism. And this place was so much more than just a school. It was a lifeline. I mean, yeah, they taught reading and writing, but they also taught first aid. They gave 3 meals a day to kids who were often starving. They even put up a wall of achievement with stories of successful Afghan women to build up a sense of pride that had been crushed for so long. This whole thing was a family project. Her mom was the headmistress who fought all the red tape to even get the building. Her sister Noria was a teacher. Her brother Asif was the guy who could fix the water pump and the generator. Parvana herself found the building and helped put it back together. You see, this school isn't just a place. It's personal. It's in her blood. And that's the hopeful memory she's clinging to back in that cold gray cell. But of course, in an environment like this, a place of hope is also a target. The world outside those school walls was hostile, and the threats against what they were trying to do just started piling up, showing just how fragile their new world really was. And the danger was complicated. It wasn't just one clear enemy. Parvana meets this peddler in a refugee camp, and he shows her these scars he says he got, not from the Taliban, but from the ones who saved us. And his question, who will save us from the saviors? Well, that just perfectly captures the terrifying confusion of her world. And the threats against the school itself just got worse and worse. It started with a man at their open house furious that women were teaching, but then it gets personal. Parvana herself is surrounded and chased by a mob in the village just for walking with her head uncovered. The intimidation was getting direct and very, very physical. And then it all comes to a head with this. A rock is thrown over the school wall in the dead of night, with a note attached. The message is simple, and it's brutal. This is the reality Parvana was living with every single day. The danger wasn't some far-off idea anymore. It was literally on their doorstep. So as if all that pressure from the outside wasn't enough, a whole new conflict explodes. But this time, it's from inside her own family. A letter arrives, all the way from America, and it drives this wedge right between Parvana and her older sister, Noria. Her sister, Noria, gets a full scholarship to NYU. And the reason? An essay she wrote about her suffering, how she had to disguise herself as a boy just to feed her family during the Taliban years. It's a really powerful story, right? There's just one problem. It's not Noria's story. And that is Parvana's raw reaction. Because that wasn't Noria's story to tell. It was Parvana's. She was the one who disguised herself, who risked her life every single day on the streets of Kabul. So to hear her own sister use her trauma to get ahead, it feels like the ultimate betrayal. She's fighting battles on every single front. Which brings us right back to that interrogation room. The major, totally frustrated by her silence, demands to see her father's old shoulder back. He's sure it holds the key to who she is, and as he starts pulling things out, Parvana's two worlds, her past and her present, just crash into each other.
So what does he find? A beat-up old bag, some pens, a half-eaten book, and a notebook. Now, to Parvana, these things are her treasures. They're her only connection to her father, her most private thoughts, a story she loves. But to the Major, these are all just clues, red flags. Why would a girl like this be reading an American classic? What's written in that notebook?
And this is what they find. The corporal translates from Parvana's private letters to her friend Shauzia. It's this heartbreakingly honest thought from a girl who feels completely forgotten by the world. But in this room, her private, honest words are twisted and read out loud like a confession of some kind of anti-government sentiment. So now they think they have something, and they really turn up the heat. They make her stand for hours on end. They won't let her sleep. They blast the same cheesy pop song about puppy love into her cell over and over to break her concentration. They offer her food, money, anything they can think of to find a crack in her resolve. And that's the real heart of it, isn't it? The Major sees her silence as proof that she's guilty, the defiance of some kind of trained operative. But for Parvana, it is the exact opposite. It's pure self-preservation. To speak is to give them pieces of her life that they can twist and use as weapons, and to endanger the memory of everything she fought so hard to build. So in the end, we're left with this question. Is your name Parvana? She only whispers yes when she's finally completely alone in her cell. Her name is her identity. It's her entire story of survival, of hope, and of loss. But when you're surrounded by people who will turn that very story into a weapon against you, what is the true cost of speaking your own name?